Two U.S. Marshals travel to a remote island to investigate the disappearance of a patient from a mental asylum. But the deeper they go, the more they realize. Nothing on this island is what it seems. Today, we're explaining the 2010 psychological thriller Shutter Island, directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Leonardo DiCaprio. This video contains full spoilers, so watch at your own risk. We begin with 1954. A U.S. Marshal named Teddy Daniels is traveling by boat towards Shutter Island, a remote island that hosts a mental institution for the criminally insane called Asha Cliff Hospital. Teddy is seasick, sweating, and clearly uncomfortable. On the boat, he meets his new partner, Chuck All. They've never worked together before. Teddy tells Chuck they've been called here because a patient named Rachel Solando has mysteriously disappeared from a locked cell. From the beginning, something feels off. The guards on the island act too serious, almost like soldiers at a war zone instead of doctors and nurses. The warden's attitude is cold and aggressive. It doesn't feel like a hospital. It feels like a prison. Teddy and Chuck meet Dr. John Calley, the head psychiatrist. He explains that Rachel Solando was admitted after she drowned her 3 children in a lake. Now, she believes her kids are still alive, and that Ashacliff is just her home. She somehow walked out of a locked cell, bars on the windows, and is now missing on an island surrounded by cliffs and ocean. There's nowhere to go, yet she vanished. Teddy investigates Rachel's room. He notices something strange. The room feels staged. Everything is neatly placed. Nothing looks like a struggle. Then he finds a hidden note, folded and kept inside the cell. It says just one line: the Law of 4. Who is 67? This is our first big mystery. Law of 4 inches. Who is 67? But the hospital only has 66 patients on record. So who is patient number 67? That night, Teddy has disturbing dreams and flashbacks. We learn that Teddy is a World War II veteran. He was part of a group of soldiers who liberated the DACO concentration camp. The film shows dead bodies, frozen prisoners, and the horror of war. He also dreams about his wife, Dolores, who died in a fire caused by a man named Andrew Lettuce, an arsonist. Teddy blames Lettuce for his wife's death and still carries huge guilt and trauma. In his dream, Dolores appears to him. She is covered in ashes and says mysterious things like, "You have to let me go, Teddy. Lettuce is here." On this island, Teddy wakes up even more determined. In his mind, Shutter Island is not just an asylum. It's the place where Andrew Lettuce is hiding. Teddy and Chuck start interviewing the staff and the other patients. Many of them act nervous, like they're hiding something. One patient secretly writes the word "run" in Teddy's notebook when the guards aren't looking. That makes the situation feel even more suspicious. At the same time, Teddy tells Chuck that he believes the government is using Ashacliff to experiment on patients doing brain surgeries, mind control, and illegal medical tests. Possibly connected to Cold War experiments, a massive storm hits the island, cutting off power and communication. Things start to get chaotic. The storm, the lightning, the flooded areas, everything creates a tense, dangerous atmosphere. Teddy becomes obsessed with a tall lighthouse on the island. He believes that inside the lighthouse, they're doing secret experiments like lobotomies and mind control operations. But every time he tries to go there, he's stopped by guards, the storm, or the hospital staff. The lighthouse becomes a symbol of the truth he's not allowed to see. Meanwhile, Storm forces some patients to escape their cells, causing chaos. Teddy and Chuck help restore order, but Teddy uses this chance to explore a restricted building called Ward C, where the most dangerous patients are kept. Inside Ward C, the environment is like a dungeon, dark, wet, and terrifying. Teddy meets a prisoner named George Noyce, claims Teddy has seen him before. George tells Teddy that none of this is an accident. He says everyone is lying to him. Everything is a setup. He warns Teddy they're going to take away everything that makes you you. George tells him that Teddy is being manipulated and that once they declare him insane, nobody will believe anything he says. This conversation increases Teddy's paranoia. He's now convinced that Ashacliff is a giant trap. Later, Teddy gets separated from Chuck during the storm. While exploring the cliffs, he discovers a woman hiding inside a cave. She claims to be the real Rachel Solando. She says she used to work as a psychiatrist at Ashcliff. When she discovered that the hospital was doing illegal experiments on patients, turning them into ghosts with no will of their own, she refused to stay silent. So they declared her insane, faked her records, and locked her up as a patient. Rachel tells Teddy that once the doctors decide you're insane, any objection you make becomes another symptom. If you deny it, they say you're in denial. If you accept it, they say it's further proof of your condition. This scene plants a huge doubt in our mind. Is Teddy really a U.S. Marshal investigating corruption? Or is he the one being controlled? When Teddy returns from the cave, he can't find Chuck anywhere. He goes back to the hospital and asks about his partner, but the staff act like they've never heard of Chuck Lell. No records, no arrival log, nothing. Teddy feels like he's losing his mind. The people around him insist he came alone. The tension peaks when he looks down at a cliff and sees what looks like Chuck's dead body on the rocks below. Now Teddy believes everyone is against him and that they've probably killed his partner. Determined to uncover the truth, Teddy finally makes it to the lighthouse. He expects to find operating tables tables, tortured patients, and proof of government experiments. Instead, he finds Dr. Callie calmly sitting in an office. No secret lab, no surgical victims, no Rachel Solando, just the head doctor waiting for him. This is where the movie reveals its big twist. Inside the lighthouse, Dr. Callie slowly reveals the truth. Teddy Daniels. Not really a U.S. Marshal investigating the island. His real name is Andrew Lettuce. He is patient number 67, the one mentioned in the note. Who is 67? Andrew Teddy has been a patient at Ashcliffe for 2 years. He was admitted after a tragic event. His mentally ill wife, Dolores, drowned their 3 children in a lake behind their home. When Andrew came home and discovered what she had done, he was devastated and furious. In a moment of rage and heartbreak, he shot and killed her. Unable to accept the guilt, his mind created a fantasy. Andrew Lettuce became Teddy Daniels, a heroic U.S. Marshal. His dead wife Dolores appears as a victim in his memories. The man who killed his wife becomes a separate person he can hunt. Andrew Lettuce, the arsonist. In other words, he turned himself, the real Andrew, into a villain in his own mind so he could hate someone else instead of accepting his own actions. Dr. Callie explains that the entire investigation, the missing patient, even Chuck, was part of a role-play experiment. Chuck was never a marshal. He was actually Dr. Sheehan Andrews' primary psychiatrist, pretending to be his partner to carefully guide him through this fantasy and lead him to the truth. The storm, the missing Rachel, the cave woman. The interviews, almost everything was structured around letting Andrew live out his delusion, hoping he would finally reach a moment of clarity and accept what he did. At first, Teddy Andrew refuses to believe this, but slowly, the pieces start to fit. The dreams about Dolores, the way people looked at him, the warnings from other patients, the way Chuck Sheehan always tried to calm him down. Then he is shown detailed records, photos of his children, and documents proving his identity. We see a powerful flashback. Andrew comes home one day. His kids are floating in the lake, dead. Dolores is sitting by the water in shock, saying, "I thought we could be free." Andrew pulls his children's bodies out of the water, crying and screaming. Then, in unbearable pain, he goes inside, holds Dolores, and shoots her. It's brutal. And in that moment, Andrew finally remembers everything. He breaks down, crying. He accepts that he is Andrew Lettuce, that he is the one who killed his wife, and that he's been running away inside his own mind ever since. For a moment, it seems like the treatment has worked. Later, Andrew sits outside on the hospital steps with Chuck Dr. Sheehan. It looks like things are normal, but then Andrew starts talking again, as if he's still Teddy Daniels, the marshal. He talks about needing to leave the island and blow the lid off this place. Dr. Sheehan gives a disappointed look to Dr. Callie. It seems that Andrew has relapsed into his fantasy. The doctors had agreed on one final rule. If this role-play experiment didn't permanently cure him, they would have to lobotomize him, a brain surgery. It would leave him calm but essentially empty as the orderlies come to take Andrew away. He says one last line to Chuck, which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man. This line changes everything. There are 2 possible interpretations. 1, he has relapsed. Andrew really thinks he's Teddy again. He's completely insane. The doctors have no choice but to lobotomize him. 2, he is pretending to relapse on purpose. He remembers the truth. He knows he killed his wife and children. The guilt is too heavy. So he chooses lobotomy as a way to die as a good man rather than continue living with what he did. Most fans believe the second interpretation. Andrew does understand who he is at the end, but decides he cannot live with that. It's knowledge, so he chooses a living death. And that was the full story of Shutter Island, a movie that plays with memory, trauma, and the blurry line between sanity and madness. Do you think Andrew really relapsed, or was he pretending at the end? Let me know your theory in the comments. If you enjoyed this explanation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more movie breakdowns like this one.